Well, hello everyone. What's going on? So this is your homework for Islam is to watch this and take some notes on it, go through, keep this as much as you can, and you can use these notes on your test. Um, we watched a video on Islam, and I think you guys have a pretty good idea of what it is, but I want to just kind of go through to make sure you're good on everything that you've learned so far. So first off, I think it's important to note that there is so much overlap and connection between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All of them have Abraham as their founding father. He's the one that started the Jewish religion. Um, but then as Islam goes through and looks at people like Moses and Jesus and Abraham, they are all prophets. All right, as was Muhammad. The only thing with it is that Muhammad was the last prophet, um, and is given like the final word. There is tons of overlap as far as the usage of religious texts, stories, um, things like that between the three monotheistic religions. So I think a common understanding is that you must have is that they are very, very similar. Okay? And there are just some slight differences, that do mean a lot when it comes to faith. So, but now let's look at it historically. Um, if you go to right around the 600s CE, the Common Era now, this is when Islam comes into play. And now remember, Judaism starts 2000 BCE, Christianity starts right at 0, and now 600 years later, Muhammad is going to get his message and build off of what Judaism and Christianity have done prior to. Now, as you're looking at the screen here, you will see that this area in here is the Arabian Peninsula. Modern day, this country right here is modern day Saudi Arabia. All right? And this is where it all starts. To understand how this whole thing works, it's important to know that all of the people that were coming from like the Mesopotamia and Tigris and Euphrates rivers right here and traveling across and trading goods all through here moved in clans. Anywhere between 25 and 30 person clans and as much as 100 to 300 people clans. Even at this point now, you will see some caravans over the next 300-400 years after Islam gets started of like 10,000 members and camels in a caravan. All right, so like that was the camels were the use of transportation, through the desert here, and so it was very important. Obviously, this is very harsh land, not a lot of agriculture, so people moved around quite a bit and herded their livestock. And while they did that, carried goods from one place to another and traded. Okay? So this is kind of what Muhammad started out as. He was a merchant, and merchants are very important to Islam, and is seen as a very respectable profession. So as Muhammad is growing up, he is spoken to by the angel Gabriel that spreads the message, Allah's message to him, and he starts going through and trying to convert people to the word. He has a tough go of it. There's some problems here and there, and most people in this area are still polytheistic, and they didn't much take kindly to him and his monotheistic, one God only kind of approach. So as he starts here in Mecca with his journey, he gets forced out, and he has to travel up to Medina here so that to escape being killed or imprisoned, and also to find followers. And up there in Medina, he finds about 10,000 converts that will follow him, and he goes back to Mecca. He fights the Meccan armies and wins, and at that point, Islam is truly started. All right, and this happens right around like 6:30, and everything is ready to go now with Islam. So that's how it kind of gets going. Now the idea is what is the religion? So there are some very important things I think that we need to take a look at. Go to slide 2 for you. Now, and for this one, there are some things that make Islam much different, though, than Christianity. Christianity is almost set up to where it establishes itself as a kind of religion only, all right, with rules to live by, but that's about it. However, Islam sets itself up to where it encompasses all aspects of life. There's rules regarding banking. There's rules regarding government. There's rules regarding trade and what is fair, and also, marriage and personal relationships and your relationship with God. But it is those things that deal with government and economy and that kind of stuff that makes Islam much, much more all-encompassing than Christianity. Christianity can't be its own country, okay? You can have a certain type of government that may sponsor Christianity, but you can't have a country founded and following just Christian rules and laws, because it doesn't exist. However, Islam does. Islam has all of these rules, and it's followed in the Sharia law, okay? And this is the rules and behaviors that Muslims follow. It encompasses all types of daily behaviors. It encompasses all types of religious, political, economic, and social laws that must be followed, okay? And if we go back to the map, obviously Saudi Arabia is the center for Islam, okay? And everybody is required, if possible, if they can do it, to make a pilgrimage as one of the 5 pillars of faith to go back to Mecca. And Saudi Arabia takes this role of being the center of Islam very, very seriously. And I once had a student whose dad worked for Ford, and they were over. He was in marketing, and he went to Saudi Arabia, and he was there to market trucks and SUVs, and he had to kind of figure out what were the cultures and customs and that kind of stuff. And like one of the things within Sharia law that they said was that you couldn't negatively attack the competitor. So sometimes we see how in our commercials a Ford truck will say, well, we're better than Chevy in this. That is against Sharia law to talk negatively about a rival openly like that. And so he had to learn those kind of customs. The other thing that he had to do while he was there was he had a bodyguard with him. And he didn't have a bodyguard because he was afraid of his own safety, but he had a bodyguard so that he didn't get arrested. And the reason why was because Saudi Arabia maintains Sharia law, and they have Sharia police. So anybody that breaks Sharia law, maybe it's talking to a married woman in public. Maybe it's dressing a certain way. Maybe it's, doing, eating and preparing food, whatever. That if you break those laws, you get arrested. And so they're like religious police. And so he had to have that bodyguard with him just to make sure that he didn't break the laws and get himself arrested. All right. So it's very, very interesting just how similar the two religions are, the three religions, and then just how different Islam is from the other two. Caliphs are their religious leaders. They're kind of like the popes of Islam, though they are definitely not as popular, as Pope Francis is right now, and how much of a almost kind of rock star, and how people gravitate towards him, and people line up, and he makes certain, announcements that everybody kind of listens to. You don't really have that with the caliphs. A much more like downplayed kind of religious leader. The Ummah refers to the Muslim community, and the Quran is the Muslim holy book. So, a couple of things that also wanted to take a look at. This is Mecca, and if you are a Muslim, it is your religious duty, because of the 5 pillars of faith, to go to Mecca and pray. And if you remember in the video, they had that big square stone object that people in Saudi Arabia and in the Arabian Peninsula used to go to, and it was kind of like a one size fits all religious kind of thing for all polytheistic gods. And it was very common for people to make this journey there and kind of pray at it to whatever gods they had. And it kind of just was, something that everybody did. Well, it had its roots in Judaism, and Muhammad knew this. And so what he did was that he converted this into the Islamic religion. And so this is the Kaaba, and it is a very, very holy religious symbol for them. And what will happen is you will get this area in Mecca completely packed, hundreds of thousands of people praying together at the same time throughout the day, and it is essentially the center of Islam. If you are in Michigan and you are Muslim and you pray to the east, to where you think that Mecca's at. If you are in India, then you turn and face the other way and you pray towards Mecca that way. If you are below it, you are south of Mecca, then you pray to the north. If you are north of it, you pray to the south. So everything always leads back to Mecca here. All right. Know the 5 pillars of faith. 1, the declaration of faith. 2, the pilgrimage to Mecca. 3, the giving of alms or money to the poor is 3. 4 is, oh boy, now you got me. Now I can't think of the 2. I just lost them. Let's see if we can't find it real quick. 5 pillars of Islam. See if we can get it. Here we go. The declaration of faith, praying 5 times a day, giving to the poor, fasting the month of Ramadan, and then finally the pilgrimage to Mecca. Those are the 5 pillars of faith for Islam. So thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure it wasn't the most exciting thing, but again, anything that you take notes on from this lecture, you can use on your test. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.